Welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, April 13, 2018. I am Rochelle Baptiste with the details. A call has been made for the youths of this station to be advocates against domestic violence. The call comes from Director of the Gender Affairs Department, Polly Oliver, as she addressed a hospitality conference today for students at the SVG Community College, focusing on violence against women and children here in SVG. Providing local and international data on violence against women, Oliver said jealous rage is among the 3 notable ways in which women are being abused.
Just showing you what some statistics was showing. 95% of domestic victims are women, and that's genuine all over the world. I use the US, the big mighty US, for us to see what is really happening out there, and I'll come home to St. Vincent just now. So that one act of violence though against our women, especially when that act leads to the loss of life, is one too many, and it cannot be overemphasized. You can't talk about it enough to say you should not take the life of anyone. So the pattern of abuse by men leading to death in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and this is very important, show a history of domestic disputes, reasons, spate of jealous rage, and to a lesser extent, violent impulsive reaction. These are what the findings are showing us. Some of the reasons for domestic violence or men killing women in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Oliver challenged young people here to become the change and not be perpetrators or accept being victims of abuse.
Sexual assault on women continue to be a growing cause for concern. In St. Vincent, too many of our young women and children are falling victims to the selfish desires of reckless individuals, and incidents of rape and other sexual crimes occur despite the intensified efforts of authorities in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Why did I put this in? Is to show that I have been working since when, and I met it there, and I'm going to retire just now. I'm going to leave it there, so you are going to take over. So all the things that we would have done over the years, all the efforts that we would have made, put laws into place, have sessions like these, empower, educate people. We still have violence. We still have domestic disputes. So we're talking about a participatory approach, an integrated approach to deal with this thing. Because you can't think that I'm sitting at the Gender Affairs Division and I can do it all. You understand? Or the government can do it all. So we need everybody on board, young and old, to make sure we help to eradicate violence against women and girls and abuse.
Stipend provided to nursing students here is a privilege and not a right. That's the view of Minister of Education Sinclair Jimmy Prince, who told Parliament recently that changes had to be made to the clauses governing the training of student nurses to address abuse of the system, including the stipend provided.
There are 2 new clauses in the agreement that the students are required to sign. One, they will receive a monthly stipend for a period of 3 years, commencing January and ending on or about December. 2, in the event of pregnancy during the period of training, they will proceed on pregnancy-related leave at 33 weeks, during which time the stipend will be suspended. They will rejoin the program as outlined in the Department of Nursing Education policy document. Upon return to the program, they will continue to receive a stipend up to the contract's original end date. The receipt of a stipend, Mr. Speaker, has always been a privilege and not a right. Unfortunately, it has been taken advantage of by some in the past, and this recent revision is intended to limit this activity and ensure the best use of the nation's resources. And of course, we'll continue to train the nurses and continue to support them in whichever way we can.
Minister Prince took the opportunity to highlight one case which prompted authorities to take action to make the necessary changes.
As a result, in at least one case, a student nurse who got pregnant twice during her training took 5 years to complete her training and received a stipend for 5 years. She argued successfully that there was no agreement that prevented her from receiving such. As a result, the decision was made by the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment that there should be an agreement that includes a clause that regularizes the issue of pregnancy-related leave and the stipend. Rather than leave the new mother with no stipend for the additional year of training, for 1 year, they will receive half stipend. At that time, the School of Nursing was under the control of the Ministry of Health, etc. This clause has been of concern for some, as it appears that the student nurse was being punished for becoming pregnant. As a result, this clause was removed in January 2017 and replaced with a much clearer interpretation of the original cabinet decision regarding the monthly stipend.
If all goes as planned, St. Vincent and the Grenadines could start to re-export bananas to the UK market by June of this year. Minister of Agriculture Saboto Caesar made a disclosure in Parliament recently in response to a question raised from the opposition bench about the non-existence of extra-regional exportation of bananas last year. Minister Caesar, however, noted that the current supply of bananas in SVG would only be able to satisfy the local and regional markets based on the current demand, and that increased production will be needed to supply extra-regional markets such as the UK.
Main markets in the region being Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, and yesterday I was informed by WINFA that they have an order from Grenada. Dominica was totally destroyed in terms of their banana industry, and they're in the rebuilding process. Therefore, there is significant market share opened in the British Virgin Islands, especially, and in St. Martin, and a lot of our bananas will be going to these islands. So I do not envisage that there will be the sort of supply to go to the extra region in 2018.
The Agriculture Minister further provided some information on the quantity of bananas produced locally from 2016 to present.
C. Output in quantity of bananas, 2016 and 2017. 2016, 2,325 tons. 2017, 2,107 tons. And in 2018 so far, we are doing an average of 2,500 boxes for exportation on a weekly basis, and we are seeing an increasing trend of local consumption.
Presenting figures from the Banana Services Unit, the Agriculture Minister explained further the reasons for the decrease in the acreage of banana production here, which moved from 1,069 in January 2016 to 784 in December 2017.
The largest single employer in the agriculture sector in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is the Cocoa Company, with over 800 acres of cocoa. So there were many farmers who were advised to intercrop the cocoa with the bananas for shade, and as the plants age, they have to take out some of the plants for the spacing issues. An increase in the acreages in root crops, particularly dasheen, and this is so because exportation to the United States of America and St. Thomas has increased. Acres of coffee is now established, and some farmers are using bananas for shade, but in some zones farmers are doing pure stand coffee on banana lands, changing the spacing for the bananas.
Member of Parliament for Central Kingstown, Sinclair Leacock, is of the view that Vincentians are living a reduced quality of life. Addressing the question and answer session at a budget review town hall meeting hosted earlier this week by the Public Service and Teachers Union along with the Employers Federation at French's House, Leacock said that the ruling Unity Labour Party government underspends on the budget. He questioned why the government would have a big budget and not utilize the monies to improve the quality of life of Vincentians.
We would only know what the truth of this year's budget about 6 years from now when the Auditor General report comes out. Because this is the most up-to-date information we have, where we have audited the government's account in 2011. The actual expenditure of 2011 budget of $571 million was $54 million short than the revised estimate of 625. You understand what I'm saying to you? In other words, on the recurrent budget, every year, the government spends less than 10% of what it underspends all the time. It doesn't fill position in the public service. It doesn't provide goods and services. And you will see that the provision for goods and services in 2018 is exactly where it was in 2001. People are receiving less and less and less. And we have, generally as a people, have to revise our quality of life downward. Become accustomed to driving on bad roads, no medication, no police service, no this, no that and the other. And we accept it as a reduced quality of living to be good enough for us. That's how we're mesmerizing the country.
The opposition MP said SVG needs to be more export-oriented.
100,000 people on 150 square miles cannot generate enough economic activity to feed its population. Simply can't happen. We do not have a domestic economy that is big enough to give us the growth and opportunity to provide the surpluses and the employment levels that are required. And that can only happen when St. Vincent becomes an export-led and driven economy to tap into other markets in the region. We are nowhere near that with respect to manufacturing, just barely so in tourism. The figures were given this evening, for example, for fishing as a sector. We do $5 million worth of business in fishing per year. Grenada does $50 million US per year. What are they doing right and we are not doing right?
The new ambassador of the Republic of China on Taiwan to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Calvin Ho, presented his credentials to this country's Deputy Governor General Susan Duggan on Tuesday this week at the Government House. The Deputy Governor General welcomed Ambassador Ho and expressed her appreciation for the fruitful bilateral cooperation between the Republic of China on Taiwan and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Ambassador Ho conveyed warm regards from the President of the Republic of China on Taiwan and also expressed gratitude for the staunch support rendered to Taiwan by the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in international arena over the years, reiterating Taiwan's commitment to the bilateral relationship between the two countries. Ambassador Ho said he will continue to further strengthen and cooperate closely with the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Today, April 13, 2018, marks 39 years since the last eruption of the La Soufrière volcano. To commemorate this anniversary, the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, will host a week of activities during the period April 23rd to the 27th. These activities will be conducted in collaboration with the University of the West Indies Seismic Research Center and with support from the Soufrière Monitoring Unit, the Forestry Division, and the Strengthening Resilience in Volcanic Areas STEVA project of the University of East Anglia in the UK. Volcano Awareness Week, as it has been coined, aims to raise awareness of the risk and science associated with the La Soufrière volcano. As part of the 2018 volcano awareness activities, the National Emergency Management Organization and the Seismic Research Center will conduct education and outreach activities in schools and communities on the leeward side of the island to complement the Volcano Ready Communities project, which is ongoing in the North Leeward area. There will also be a series of exhibitions throughout the week to showcase the volcano exhibits designed and constructed by the Striver team. 2 community meetings will also be held as part of these activities. One at Chateaubelair on Tuesday, April 24th, 2018, and Shumaka on Thursday, April 26, 2018. On Friday, the 27th of April, there will be an educational field trip to the La Soufrière volcano. In other news, a fruit drying training course which concluded here today is expected to lead to a lucrative agro-processing enterprise here in SVG. The course is the third in a series of 4 conducted under the South-South Cooperation Project in collaboration with the Government of Colombia through the Division of Adult and Continuing Education, the Ministry of Agriculture, and Vinci Fresh. Some 15 persons participated in the 5-day course and received training from officials at the National Learning Center of Colombia in fruit drying processes. Speaking at the closing ceremony, academic coordinator at CINA Colombia, Oscar Gelvez, said it was a very productive week. He gave an overview of what was covered over the 5-day period.
Study 2 new methods for dehydrating fruits.
Que creo que van a ser muy importantes para mejorar un poco la problemática que hay en la isla de la sobreproducción en épocas de cosecha.
That I believe will be interesting to cope with the problem of the surplus of production during the harvesting season that you have.
Este método que estudiamos y el que ustedes ven acá el resultado hoy.
So through these methods that we practice, where you can see the results in some of the products that we prepared for you today,
podemos asegurar que esas frutas que en época de cosecha se pierden por bajo costo y por sobreproducción.
Now we can assure that those fruits and products that are being lost during the harvest season when there's overproduction and are going to have very low cost,
puedan alargar su tiempo de vida en cerca de 6 meses.
Now you can extend the life cycle or the time this fruit is going to last for 6 months with this type of packaging and process.
Several participants of the course are expected to be selected to travel to Colombia to receive advanced training. Gelvez outlined what those participants can expect.
There's also another option or an additional step where you can coat these fruits, these dried fruits, with chocolate. We're going to do this with the people coming to Colombia, so you'll learn about this option and make these.
Vamos a implementarlo en Colombia, vamos a hacer una práctica para que aprendan cómo se hace y cuáles son las diferencias con este método.
And there's a third method for drying the fruit called lyophilization that we're going to teach you in Colombia as well, so you see the differences and how everything can be different. So what we expect is that the 10 people that visit us are paying a lot of attention, looking at the technologies, looking at the processes, so you can come back and replicate and communicate with you in the best way about all situations and options possible.
Commending the participants and trainers for the work done, Chief Agriculture Officer Ashley Kane urged the participants to apply their energies and creativity to maximize the benefits of the course.
It is my hope that as a consequence of this training, what is imparted and what is made possible, that we would begin a journey which would not only allow us to recover some of these old techniques for preservation, but with the help of government-friendly governments, build a foundation for a very strong, vibrant agriculture in St. Vincent and Grenadines, which minimizes the losses of valuable farmers' energy through spoilage and otherwise. That continuing partnership would allow us to have good and viable livelihoods for our farmers and those persons who distribute products which come from our knowledge and training in this enterprise.
Participants of the 5-day fruit drying course are also set to benefit from the establishment of a cooperative which will enable them to develop their markets and brands. The disclosure was made by Chief Education Officer Beverly Neptune as she spoke at the opening ceremony of the course earlier this week, noting that the training is a worthwhile venture which will benefit the country immensely. Neptune outlined the significance of a cooperative.
The new skill sets to processing these fruits and vegetables and add value to them, thereby creating additional employment and new opportunities for our citizens. Participants, the establishment of the cooperative by itself is extremely important because you become members, you own your cooperative. So that alone, the presence of a cooperative is a very important factor. Cooperative will help you to improve your product and service quality and help you also to reduce risk.
The education officer further noted that the model of training used have already gained success in Colombia and is destined to be successful here in SVG.
By our friends from Colombia through SENA, one of its foremost adult education institutions, which combines the delivery of adult education with the growing of fruits and vegetables, as well as the processing of them. This model has proven to be very fruitful in Colombia. And given the success of this program in Colombia, and given our own situation here, with regard to the large amount of fruits and vegetables which are often left to waste, this model is a good fit for us here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Senior Fisheries Officer Chris Isaac says every Vincentian has a role to play in the protection of the country's marine resources. Isaac took the opportunity to remind persons here to comply with the laws of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in relation to the hunting of sea turtles.
In beaches, feeding grounds for turtles are being damaged all over the world. So turtles, once considered an inexhaustible resource, and with some of the largest colonies found right here in the region, have basically all but vanished. It is therefore important that persons recall that there is now a ban on the killing of marine turtles or the harvest of their eggs, which came into effect on January 1st, 2017. Now the Fisheries Division is asking persons to abide by the law and to end the killing of sea turtles and the harvest of their eggs and even the sale of their shells as jewelry. We all play a part in the managing of our marine resources in a sustainable manner, whether it be government, private sector, or local citizens, so we should all look out for the future of our country.
Speaking on the issue of the lionfish, Isaac said this invasive species is a threat to the ecosystem, adding that the Fisheries Department is supportive of removal efforts.
The invasive lionfish remains a threat to all native Caribbean fish species, even here in St. Vincent and Grenadines, by competing for the limited resources that we have, whether it be food or habitats to live in, such as coral reefs, or even going so far as feeding on our local fish populations. With few natural predators in the region, population control is basically up to the efforts of us humans. I know that Serenity Dive in Calico has a monthly lionfish fry, and there are other fishers who are also out there sparing lionfish. Now, the Fisheries Division is in support of all these lionfish removal activities, and we would just like to urge the public to support these events where lionfish is on sale, or even go into your fish markets and speak to the vendors and speak to the fishers about the availability of lionfish. It is through the demand by the public that we are hoping you can assist in increasing the efforts out there by our fishers to catch lionfish. As you recall, the motto that we used to say is "eat it to beat it," so let's try and play our part.